welcome back. Today is number 11 of the post a video every day for 30-day challenge. You guys, if this is your first time seeing one of my videos, my name's Eric. The camera will not. There we go. Now we can do this. So, my name's Eric. I am a fishing guide here in Southeast Florida. I film content, I film my fishing adventures, I film my guided trips, and all that good stuff. And I'm posting a video every day for 30 days to challenge myself and kind of help the YouTube algorithm pick me up. Man, I gotta get my sunglasses on. Hang on just a second. Oh man, that is so much better. So, today, finally have a day off. The past 10 days has been non-stop on the water fishing. So I finally get a day off. I got to wake up at 7 instead of 4, which is a lovely, lovely surprise. Man, I gotta clean this freaking truck. That'll be on the agenda today. But so what's on the agenda today is we're gonna head over to my buddy Mike's house, and I do a lot of work on his boat. It's a really beautiful Mako 18 LTS or LTS 18, whatever. You're gonna see it in a minute. But yeah, he's been doing a lot of trolling out there by Jupiter Inlet, and he wants to install some rod holders in the back so he can just stick them back there, have something a little bit lower on the deck instead of on the platform, and we're gonna go help him out with that today. First thing I gotta do is get to Mike's house first. I gotta take some measurements and take one of the rod holders with me so I can go to the hardware store, get the correct length hardware, and should have everything I need. We've got 5200, got all my tools, so we'll kind of show you how that's done, how at least my process of installing the rod holders, and you might learn a thing or two and you guys will be able to do it yourself. So let's head over to Mike's house. We'll say hi and check out his boat and get going. Pardon me, sir. You wouldn't happen to have any gray poupon? I guess not. Alright, here she is, the Mako 18 LTS. And I've actually done a video on this before when I did the, it was a 300-hour service that I did for Mike. She's running great. Happy to report. Pretty easy motor to work on, and it's nice and quiet, runs nice and smooth. So the goal for today is to put some rod holders here. Here's actually the rod holder. It's a 30 degree, and so Mike has been doing some trolling, and he's just been trolling with the ones on the tower. But he wants to get something a little bit down low so he can have a little bit bigger spread and just something easier to get to. So the tricky part about these Makos is there's all kinds of weird paneling in here. I don't even know what it's for. There's actually underneath the deck, there's a panel that kind of blocks off this section. I don't know if they filled it with foam for flotation or what, but it kind of makes things a little tricky, because ideally what I would like to do, even though this is just some light tackle stuff for like mackerel, small tunas, mahi and stuff, is I would like to use hardware that is a bolt, so I can have a nut and a washer on the back side as opposed to just a screw going down through the deck and just, you know, sealing it with like 5200. So I'll give you a look underneath so you can see what's going on here. Originally I thought maybe back here would be good, or back here, but you can't because of that weird panel. So it looks like this general area is the best, and we've got this speaker right here that we got to contend with. So I don't know. Gonna figure it out though. I think I have a general idea of how I'm gonna get it here and clear the speaker magnet with the tube of that thing. Yeah, but anyway, I'm gonna take this with me to the hardware store. Now that I know what I'm dealing with and I have an idea of the thickness of the deck, I know what hardware I need to get. Alright, so inside here's what we're dealing with here. I've got this speaker to contend with. Let's see if I could show you guys the small little zone. Right up there above the speaker is what we're working with. Alright, so. Okay, again, about like that. If I drill it wrong, then that bar could hit something and not be in the correct orientation. Alright, so after much deliberation and trying to figure out where to put this in Mike's boat, originally we were thinking right here, but as I showed you guys, there's this weird like brace panel. I think it's to help support the deck, but there might be foam flotation in there. We've got that speaker right here, and you know, this would have been nice because when you're sitting up on the seat or resting on the console and the rod goes off, you could just grab it quickly and that'd be awesome. But there's just too much going on here to risk making a mistake and getting it in the wrong position, because there's not much room. Like when you're in there working, I mean, you can't get your arms in there. And to make the marks and measurements, it's too sketch. So we're actually gonna opt to put it, I think, right there. And I think that'll be okay. I would love to put it more in the corner or back here on the step, but because of that panel that runs right along here, we're kind of limited to this particular zone. And I mean, as Mike was just telling me, it's just a rod holder. Let's not overthink it. And I totally agree. So that'll be fine. It'll be out of the way. No one will trip on it. And with that 45-degree angle, it'll get the spread away from the rods in the platform. So we'll have 4 rods going on. And I totally agree. It's gonna work and be just fine. All right, so I just wanted to show you guys what this one looks like. I did it off camera just because I wanted to figure everything out and where I wanted to put it. And then we're gonna transfer the measurements. So I'm gonna measure everything and then we're gonna transfer it over to that side, and I'll show you kind of the whole process behind that. All right, so that's exactly 2 inches from the edge of the non-skid. And then we've got exactly 5 inches from this. All right, so there's 5.
Look at that bad boy. It's like an offshore boat right now, Art.
Yeah.
It's a freaking offshore boat.
right, so we have our port rod holder, and then over here, starboard. This one came out really good. Obviously that was the second one that we did, so I worked out all the kinks, but super awesome. Still gonna add just a little bit of a bead of the 3M 4000. You can use 4000, you can use 5200, either or, doesn't matter. 4000 is a little easier to remove. 5200 dries a lot harder, but it's still removable. It's not totally permanent like what it says. So we just got to get under here, just add a little bit of a bead, kind of pretty it up, extra like triple protect that no water goes through, and we'll be all set. Alright, so next on the agenda, and this is kind of a common problem with the 18 LTSs, is where you get this separation on this little wall that supports the top cap. And then right above here where this fuel tank is, you can kind of see that, get a little bit of movement, and that's just, all these little 18 LTSs are like that. So we're gonna run some of that 4000 down here and just put a real big bead. Mike and I were kind of discussing it, and you'd really have to scrape and grind all this up, and you can see someone's already done a repair. There's a couple of chips in the fiberglass where someone was in there trying to grind this stuff out and replace it. And what's real interesting to me is like you have some soft spots right here, but then right here it's super hard. So that just tells me that someone's already been in here. So I think we're just gonna lay a super thick bead and let that dry and just pretty much be done with it. And then the 4000, this stuff right here is somewhat flexible, so it should last a little while. We might have to get back in there and do it again, but at least with the 4000 we know that we'll be able to scrape this stuff off relatively easy in case we ever have to do it again. And another thing I just noticed too is you can see the original bead right there looks really nice right up until you get to about here, and then it's like the Grand Canyon of jaggedness. So just real interesting stuff that you find on pre-owned vessels, and same thing goes for cars and whatnot. I think we're doing it. You're providing a little support.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Guys, this is ridiculous. This is what Mike has in his yard. Yeah. So all week I've been showing you guys these peacocks in Miami, and Mike's got them in his neighborhood, in his front yard right now. It's ridiculous. Anyway, let's go take a look at his boat, kind of look at the final product and all that good stuff. There it is. Beautiful 18 LTS. I love this like bluish gray color. Everybody, when I had this boat in my driveway before and I was working on it, everyone stopped and complimented me on it. And it's not even my boat. Anyway, so we kind of resealed this, you know, did it by hand. Pretty decent job. You know, this stuff is really hard to work with, especially when you need to, you know, wipe it out and kind of smooth everything out. It's just, it's one of those things. It's not, it's more difficult to work with than like actual caulking for your house. But anyway, did both sides, and I'm gonna let that dry, and it should be flexible enough so when they're walking on this and that hatch panel right there flexes, it should be able to flex with their weight. And over here in the back, we have rod holder. We have the port rod holder. It's pretty cool. Actually, you know what? Let's put a rod in there so we can actually see what it looks like. All right, so I just put my tarpon rods that I had in there, and that does look like pretty much the perfect spread. You've got the port and starboard at kind of like a 45-degree angle, and then the ones on the tower, those are gonna come out perfectly straight behind the boat. But if you guys are like familiar with that like Jupiter, Port St. Lucie area, you know, in the summertime that water like smooths out and you can actually go out there and do some trolling. He's already caught some mackerel. Didn't you catch a kingfish?
What's that?
Did you catch a king?
Yeah, 6 kings.
Yeah, so he's caught kingfish in the 18 LTS. So pretty awesome.
Mostly mackerel.
Mostly mackerel, but you can do that for tunas and everything. All sorts of stuff comes up and swims inshore. So that's pretty cool. That was a fun little project to help Mike out with. Just gotta actually grease up his jack plate, and then what else are we doing today? So the video at Mike's house is not done because he has this sitting in his garage.